All right, so the 14th Amendment, it was ratified in 1866 during Reconstruction and guarantees equal protection and due process under the law. But it also grants citizenship to anyone born or naturalized in this country, something Donald Trump wants to change and most countries don't allow. Given the avalanche of illegal immigration that we've had here, you could understand why. Can Donald Trump do anything about it, though? That's the question. Let's ask constitutional law attorney and Newsmax contributor Amir Benno, along with Seamus Bruner. He is the author of Controligarchs, Exposing the Billionaire Class, Their Secret Deals, and the Plot to Dominate Your Life. He's also the director of research for the Government Accountability Institute, and it's great to have you both. So this was Trump on last weekend's Meet the Press.
You promised to end birthright citizenship on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
The 14th Amendment, though, says that, quote, all persons born in the United States are citizens. Can you get around the 14th Amendment with an executive action?
We're going to have to get a change. We'll maybe have to go back to the people, but we have to end it.
Okay, so Kristen Welker left out 6 potentially very important words in Section 1 of that 14th Amendment. All persons born or naturalized in the United States, and this is what she left out, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Section 5 then says, Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. So you have to take those together, perhaps. So let me ask you, Amir, can Congress define birthright citizenship and then place restrictions on it, given the language of Section 5?
I don't have a clear-cut answer, but I think, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, leaves it to Congress to determine who is subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. So that is a congressional question. They would be able to pass legislation on this. And you know who actually first proposed this kind of legislation by Congress to strip birthright citizenship, done by the legislative process, not done by a constitutional amendment, was the former Senate Majority Leader for the Democrats, Harry Reid, during Obama's term. He did it back in 1993 before he became the Senate Majority Leader. But it was a Democrat proposal, and it has been sort of recycled, and now the Republicans are proposing it as well. But it certainly could be done by Congress. It would, of course, be subject to legal challenge. But there is a Supreme Court decisional law on this that seems to support that it can be done.
Interesting. All right. So, Seamus, what executive actions can Trump take? Like, I don't know, maybe denying visas to pregnant women to help stop birth tourism, something like that?
Yeah, Rob, it's great to be with you. That word jurisdiction is the critical word because, you know, I'm not a constitutional scholar, but I've seen brilliant people argue that illegal aliens are not subject to the jurisdiction thereof. And so that's point one on the 14th Amendment. And, you know, the 14th Amendment was ratified at a time when you didn't have tens of millions of illegal aliens living in this country coming across the border. And then, of course, the birth tourism is such a huge problem. You have these maternity hotels for birth tourism in California getting busted. And so as far as executive actions, absolutely cracking down on birth tourism, not letting in somebody who is going to, you know, kick off a chain of migration would be a big step in the right direction.
Trump was incorrect when he said no other country does this. There's about 30 that do have it, but that leaves the vast majority of the rest of the world. It's not a game to get over the border and you win if you have your baby there. So we are the exception to the rule. Let's just talk about the federal courts, Amir. Have the federal courts or the Supreme Court ruled definitively on this, or can a new case be made?
A new case can be made, and no, they haven't ruled definitively on it. Look, it was passed, it was enacted during the Reconstruction. It was designed to give franchise to the freed slaves, people who were here in the country knowingly. The country knew they were here. We wanted them here. But the Dred Scott decision came down from the Supreme Court saying that even though they were freed and they were here lawfully, they were not entitled to the benefits of citizenship. So that is why this was added, so that not just the freed slaves, but their descendants would be considered full citizens. That was the purpose of the Reconstruction. but it was always done in the idea that the people who it applies to are here lawfully. And then at the end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, the Supreme Court dealt with a case called U.S. versus Won Kim Ark, which was had to do with a Chinese national who was here lawfully, but was not a citizen. And the Supreme Court said that the Constitution applied to him. And so, but the question they've never addressed is, would the Constitution apply to somebody who's not a citizen, but is not here lawfully, somebody who snuck across the border? And there's no authority supporting that it would. So there is no Supreme Court case that would support that position, but there does seem to be the weight of authority on the other side, on Donald Trump's side.
All right, so we'll see. And let's talk deportation real quickly. So you got the border czar, Tom Homan, met with New York City Mayor Eric Adams on Thursday. Homan's been taking shots at sanctuary cities, and he's going to be in charge of the deportation plan for the incoming president, Donald Trump. Seamus, how do you see this playing out come January 20th?
Yeah, well, I think everybody, left, right, and center, will agree that violent criminals need to go. So you start with the violent criminals, and then more broadly, the criminals committing crimes other than just hopping the border, and that'll be less of a fight. And then when you get down to the hardworking people who are here illegally, that is going to be the toughest fight. You're going to see all kinds. The left is going to protest, and there's going to be legal battles. I know the ACLU and other well-funded left-wing organizations are going to be fighting it tooth and nail. But Donald Trump chose the right man in Tom Homan to fight these battles. He's got thick skin. Kristi Noem has thick skin. We know that. And so it's going to be tough. And it's going to not happen, immediately, but we just need to keep fighting to get our country back.
Yeah, you've got these far left groups, these immigration groups they don't even want violent, convicted criminals who are here illegally. They don't even want them gone. So that's the fight we're up against. Seamus, Bruner, Amir Benno, good to have you both today. Enjoy the weekend.